This is Hector, the fool who thought he killed Achilles. So, if this is your first time to this channel and you love movies and martial arts, consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, hit that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Welcome to Fight Scene Friday, the show where we analyse the fight scenes from some of your favourite movies. And on today's show, we're looking at Achilles versus Hector from the movie Troy. Brilliant fight scene, an ancient one this time, between two legendary warriors in Greek mythology, Achilles and Hector. Hector played by Eric Bana and Achilles played by Brad Pitt. I thought these guys did a great job. I really enjoyed this movie. A lot of people didn't like it, but I actually really enjoyed it. Particularly really enjoyed Achilles and his fighting style, and obviously the kind of path of a warrior that he's going on, that he's kind of haunted by, because this is his talent, so-called, that he's been given by the gods, his gift that he's been given by the gods, that he seems to kind of resent in this film. And I loved some of the movements in the fight, the use of the spear and the shield, the drum beats, depending on the version you watch. If you watch the theatrical version, it's got this brilliant soundtrack with the drum beats in this fight. It felt very African in style, I felt, especially the fact they're using spears and shields. You know, in ancient Greek culture, they obviously use spears and shields, and they use it in many cultures. But I feel like it felt very African in style, the way they were moving, and also that drum beat felt very African. It was a very good fight scene in that sense. Like, you see some of the stylish moves like Achilles has when he has the spear from the back, and he uses the shield to kind of guide the spear to thrust at Hector. That was really good. You know, he even does like a Superman kind of thrust at Hector, and I really like that. You know, it's like similar to a Superman punch that you'll see in MMA fighting or kickboxing, and it shows his athleticism as well. You know, Brad Pitt as well, his build is a lot more of a warrior build, very lean, very muscular, yet very agile. Eric Bana is a slightly bigger guy, and he doesn't move as slick and as athletically as Achilles does. So Hector, he was an honorable guy, he's a great warrior, but he was unable to keep up with Achilles' movements, his graceful movements. And it really theoretically showed Achilles is gifted by the gods in terms of his fighting style. In this version of the Troy story, they didn't actually show the physical manifestation of the gods, but they were showing it in terms of, okay, this guy is very skilled in fighting and combat, and that's a gift to the gods that he was given. But in a way, actually, it was just showing the reality of, oh, these two guys, this guy is just a far better warrior than this guy, and he's so good that the Greeks believed that he was gifted from Zeus as being the greatest warrior, but really he's just developed his fighting skill to a level head and heels above everybody else. And at this point in the film, he's just lost his cousin Patroclus, who died at the hands of Hector, who thought he was fighting Achilles because Patroclus was imitating Achilles. And then he found out, oh, it was a young boy who he didn't mean to fight, didn't want to kill, you know, he was too young to die. That's how he feels anyway. And Hector, being a man of honor, even though he knows he's got to fight the world's greatest warrior, and even though he knows he's gonna lose, he still accepts his fate, per se. You can even tell, like, the great thing about this fight is it tells a story in and of itself. Achilles is angry, he's driven, he doesn't care. He's literally on a mission just to kill Hector. He goes there on his own with his horse and chariot. He goes to the walls of Troy, the gates of Troy, and he's just shouting, Hector! You know, and everybody there, they're kind of haunted by his cry of anger, his war cries for Hector. You can tell Hector's wife, she knows he's gonna die. You know, the baby starts crying when he's saying goodbye to the baby. You could see it on the faces of the Trojans who are watching from the city gates, you know, because the fight does a great job of showing the reactions of the characters, the Trojans, on the wall, and going back to the fight scenes and what's happening. Coming into the fight, it's like Hector's already accepted defeat. You know, he's saying to Achilles, let's allow the winner to grant the loser a proper burial. And Achilles is like, there are no pacts between lions and men. Now you know who you're fighting. He's like, I'm not accepting any terms from you. And he's saying, oh, I gave the dead boy the honor that he deserved, you know. And he's like, you gave him the honor of your sword. You won't have eyes, you won't have tongue, you won't have ears tonight. You will wander the underworld blind, deaf and dumb, and all will know that this is Hector, the fool who thought he killed Achilles. So he's like, I don't want to hear your words of gesture, your words of kindness, like, or rules of engagement. I'm here to kill you and I'm going to do what I want. He's just driven by anger. Whereas Hector, he accepts that he's going to lose and he wants a proper burial. He wants his family to be able to bury him. So he's already, just by those words, it's like he's already accepting defeat. He's trying to plead with Achilles that when you kill me, give me a proper burial. Allow me to have those proper rituals that of our tradition in our Greek culture allows, all our Trojan culture. We want to bury our dead. So he's already accepted defeat. Even at the beginning of the fight, you can see that. And even the way Achilles grabs the spear, puts it in the ground, he's really ready for combat. Whereas Hector's a great warrior, but he's reluctant to be involved in the combat. He's doing the duty for his country, he's a protector, he's a general, he's the one who, even though he's a prince, he's the warrior who's going to protect his family and protect Troy. That's his duty. Even though you can tell he doesn't really want, he's tired of fighting, he's tired of war, and he knows that this warrior, he was born to win. And we've seen already some of the amazing things Achilles can do earlier on in the film, especially when he kills the big guy at the beginning, Regis, when he's fighting him one-on-one and he takes him down with one blow, which really just shows the skill set of Achilles. It doesn't matter how big and strong the man is or how great a warrior he appears to be. Achilles has got a skill level. He's got that Michael Jordan level skill, that Ronaldo, Messi level skill in fighting. He's going to win the fight. He's got that John Jones, that Demetrius Johnson skill, that Khabib skill, if you're looking at the UFC, looking at UFC fighters. And the fighting was great because what it showed was the efficiency of Achilles' movements versus Hector's. Hector, for every 5 moves, like Achilles was do one effective move in this fight. And you could see that Hector, even though he's putting up a good fight, he's struggling. He's getting tired. Both of the guys are getting tired, but when you see Achilles taking a breath, his breaths are more like, whereas Hector's out of breath, he's very restless, he's very, and again, showing the reactions of the crowd. There you can see the fear in them. And the wife, she's fearful. You see his father's fearful. The king, he's fearful. You see the guilt on his brother's face, as he's watching the fight. During the fight, there's a moment where Hector goes to stab him and you see the king's face. He's almost like, oh, did he win? Did he win? There's a look on his face. It's really, Peter O'Toole's playing the king. It was really, there was some good acting there because he was like, oh. But then you realize he hasn't. Hector loses his weapon. He's like, get up, Prince of Troy, get up and let me have my glory. So there was like a moment of hope. There was like a couple of moments of hope in the fight. There was a moment where, as well, Hector slices at him, and he kind of cuts his armor across the chest, and Achilles kind of looks down like, okay, you got me. And even he says to Hector's father later on in the film, he says, your son was the best that I fought. Because that was almost a moment of, wow, you managed to scratch my armor. Like, no one's ever done that before. No one's ever been that good to get that close to me. And he kind of showed that in his action when he looked down and he's kind of like, he's not afraid. He's just kind of looking down like, okay, you got me. I like the fact that I've got a challenge here, but that's not going to make a difference. I'm still going to kill you. And at the end, obviously, he finishes him off and he drags him in the chariot. And there's a moment where Achilles front kicks Hector. Hector falls over the stone, and then his wife turns from the fight. She can't watch anymore. She just turns behind the stone pillar, she starts crying, and then Helen comes to comfort her. It's like they know that he's lost the fight. They can see that he hasn't had the skill to beat Achilles. And I thought, like I said, the interaction between the fighting that's happening between Hector and Achilles, and also the crowd watching, particularly obviously the characters that are closest to Hector watching this fight. There's some great editing going between those reactions and what's happening in the fight. These actions that are happening within the camera, it tells a story. It tells the story of the fight, better than any verbalization of the story can do. And that's what I think is beautiful about some of these fight scenes. When you look at them deeply and you look at what's going on in the camera and you look at the characters' non-verbals, it says a lot. The way that they were fighting said a lot. Again, Achilles' fighting style says a lot. It says he's a great warrior. It says he's got more agility, he's got more speed, he's got more confidence in his fighting style than Hector does. Even though Hector is a great warrior, he just wasn't on the same level. And even before the fight, Hector already lost because he was already talking about death and burials. That wasn't on Achilles' lips. Achilles was here to kill Hector. He knows he's here to kill Hector. Almost like the art of war. It's like, you know you've won before the fight's even started. All of those elements, even before the fight, told a story in and of itself. The fact that Achilles had the confidence to go to the Trojan gates by himself. And even when he lands at the gates, the guards, they draw their bow and arrows, and Hector's like, no. Again, that shows his character. He's honorable. He's like, no, I need to face up to my responsibilities. I killed this young man, and this man has come for vengeance, and I have to face that. I have to face this opponent. He's my enemy, and I have to face him one-on-one. I'm going to give him the honor of having the opportunity to get vengeance for his dead cousin. And some other people wouldn't have done that. They would have like just said fire, you know, and just fire the arrows on Achilles and kill him. That would have been the easy thing to do. So again, it shows Hector's character. So great fight scene, and there's a great story arc going on within the action in this whole fight scene. So if you like this video, hit that like button, share, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this fight scene. Did you enjoy the dynamics between Hector and Achilles? What did you think of the fact that they showed cutaways of Hector's family between the fight as well? What did you think of the emotional connection between the fighting and also the characters watching? Was it your favorite fight scene in the movie? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comment section below. I'll see you next week for another Fight Scene Friday. And remember, behind every fight is a great story. Peace!